Previously on Words About Books.
I think we ought to just kind of marathon through the rest of the book, because if we go chapter by chapter, we will never stop recording this.
Yeah, I could pick this book apart for the rest of my career. Okay. I'm gonna. All right. You go. All
right. Let's do the home stretch. So they realize we gotta take this gate apart, because what if it opens up a portal to the moon again? And no one goes, well,
that's kind of a self-correcting problem there.
Yeah, exactly. We can just go take an early lunch. Let's just hope that it does that. But everyone agrees, all right, let's do this. But we're gonna need help. You, secretary woman. We need you to help us out because we're down one meal. Can you fill in for a person without personality?
But wait. What happened to Neil? Did something happen to Neil? Is there a reason he can't help you?
Or Bob?
Oh my god, did something happen to Bob? What is going on here? I've been ordering donuts for all these people.
See, the reason you haven't seen Neil and Bob is because they went to a farm upstate. And they're frolicking, and they're just having the greatest time, and you can't visit them or call them or email them.
I can't imagine why I would.
Yeah, you can't do any of that because it's off the grid. And that's how they like it. And so they won't be joining us. So secretary woman, whose name I think is Anne, come help us disassemble this gate that you are just now figuring out exists.
Well, will it be dangerous?
No, of course not.
All right, I'm in.
So they go boldly to the gate. No one thinks that maybe we should stay the fuck away from this thing.
No, they do. But they're sacrificing.
So they go and they start trying to take it apart, only to find out that every time they remove a bolt, there's another bolt right below that bolt. Dun, dun, dun! Sasha, her hair changes because now she's a different Sasha. Everyone else is presumably the same, but not Sasha. Finally...
Are we sure she didn't achieve Ultra Instinct?
Well, I think that her hair was changed to red.
I thought it was platinum blonde.
Ooh. Maybe. I'll have to go back and read. This is important stuff.
Yeah.
So it's possible... Well, as we're about to find out, she is not a very good fighter. So she couldn't possibly gotten into Ultra Instinct.
Mm.
So the portal, or the anomaly, or whatever, it decides to change to a weird-looking desert planet. And Sasha thinks she sees something...
Did you ever see the episode of Family Guy where Stewie and Brian go to different multiverses?
No, I haven't.
Okay, there's an episode where Stewie invents a device where you can travel between parallel universes, and they're having a hard time getting back to their universe. And it turns out that the problem, which another Stewie points out, is that they had it on shuffle.
Well, there's their problem. They didn't build in a controlling device, so it was just preset to shuffle.
Yep. Well, that's the part of the Kotorovic's equations they didn't understand. They didn't know why he had like a random number generator in there, and we put it in.
They decided to include it.
Yeah, because Kotorovic wasn't like same universe twice kind of guy.
Well, as we find out, once that random number generator stops on a certain number, it will stay on that number forever.
Sometimes.
Because the portal shifts to a weird desert planet, and Sasha sees some sort of shadow or something, and then out from the portal comes a hideous bug man wearing human skin cloak, wielding a knife. And he has 3 arms.
And he beats the shit out of them.
He fucks their world up.
Yeah. It's funny in this like cerebral dimension switching science fiction novel that the portal opens and a guy comes out and just beats the shit out of him. I mean,
now he injures Mike, and
he injures all of them.
Yeah, he injures Mike. He puts Olaf in the hospital. He traumatizes Anne forever. After this attack, she is never heard or seen from again. I can only assume that she was committed to a padded cell for the rest of her life.
No, they send her home.
Home.
Upstate.
Yeah, upstate. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was gonna say they sent her home like they sent Bob home.
Just euthanize Anne. Oh, you're not relevant to the plot anymore, Anne. I'm sorry.
So this
Arthur's just out back loading his gun with tears in his eyes.
well, it's good that you mentioned that. Arthur has a gun, and he emerges to save the day. Because as we learn, this Bugman is like super strong and can just beat all their asses.
Oh, and Arthur's crippled sometimes.
And Arthur is crippled. Well, sometimes he's
because he switches. He switches with another Arthur who's not crippled.
Yes. Sometimes he doesn't need that cane. So this creature's one weakness, as we learn in this scene, is bullets.
Yeah.
Arthur shoots him a bunch and he dies.
Yeah, Arthur puts 6 bullets into the 3-armed guy and it goes down. And I think Sasha got kicked in the... No. Oh my god, I forget his name. Mycroft gets kicked in the gut. And the thing's like...
You forgot the main character's name.
Yeah. And he... I keep wanting to call him Arthur. But... Arthur's the old guy. So, Mike got kicked in the gut, and the thing's like toe claws like really dug into him, but he's okay. And so Anne is
well. That's interesting because when you get the toe claws of a rooster in you, you need some antibiotics.
Really weird, specific example with the rooster, but. I'm gonna ask you a question about that after the podcast. So Sasha has to go to the hospital because Sasha got a head injury. And
was it Sasha? I thought it was Olaf, but you're probably right.
I don't know.
One of the characters who is not the...
I think Sasha and Olaf go to the hospital because Sasha, Olaf, and Arthur are gone for a while.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, I know it wasn't Jamie because they have to talk about her showering. And...
I'm getting there.
Okay.
So,
all right, my bad.
Yeah. Like you're like Kotorvik. You're doing this on shuffle. They go to the hospital with like 3 of them. And Mike says, okay, we don't want to be suspicious here. We're taking a bunch of people to the hospital with injuries that obviously came from a brutal ass kicking. But we don't want to raise any red flags. So I'm going to stay behind. You take her, and she's going to get antibiotics, right? And I'm going to split them with her. He says that.
Well...
And I think the plan is to get...
Mike did not use his aunts to study medicine.
Well, no, I think they're going to get more antibiotics later. But right now, they just need to...
Oh, no. What they're going to do is they're going to put the antibiotics next to the door, and they're going to get quantum antibiotics.
It's not time for that yet. That doesn't happen yet. That happens later when things do different things. Okay. So what happens next is the longest body-dragging scene in written, recorded history. Mike and Jamie try to move the Bugman's body because they're afraid like the cops might come and they don't want to see a body or something. So they drag this body for what feels like days. I mean, like, the walk to Mount Doom has nothing on getting this body into Jamie's trailer. And then when they get the body most of the way there, it disintegrates. I don't know why it disintegrates. That's never...
It can't exist outside of the other realm.
I don't even know if that's the reason. Honest to God, I have no idea why it disintegrates.
I may be stealing that from 14 because that was the explanation.
Oh shit, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Okay, so they can't survive outside of their realm. They kick your ass, but they can't walk. So
yeah, so the way to defeat them is to just move far enough away from the door that they are rendered useless.
So the body disintegrates. Jamie takes a shower. Her cat turns into the dog they murdered because now the field is even in the trailers. It's expanded that far. And the field's everywhere. And so Mike is like, "Oh my God, we gotta end this." So he
Jamie
calls
takes a shower.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, he calls Reggie. He says,
and he tells him that we need to drop a bomb on this. Like, just scramble some jets and drop a bomb right on this fucking facility.
He tells Reggie, and this is why I kept asking you if this was a comedy. He tells Reggie, we need to blow up Site A because we already blew up Site B. Also, Neil's dead.
And Reggie is like, who?
Reggie's like, Mike, maybe you misunderstood your assignment. But, so anyway, Reggie agrees to send in the Marines. Because he knows a guy who owes him a favor. And you can just deploy Marines. Because you need a favor. And
he surrenders their command to
they're told to obey orders from Mike and Mike alone. And one of the Marines is Mike's former student. That, again, is a detail Peter Clines didn't need to add that will go on to make the book worse. And I'm going to need you to take over now.
So Arthur's like, hey, I'm a cripple this time, so I'll just slow you guys down. I'm gonna hide a safe distance away in case this goes tits up. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, that's for the best.
Yeah, the Marine guy is actually like, how about you all don't come?
They're all worthless.
They're going in to blow up. They brought a bunch of C4. They're going to blow up the portal.
And because of the contract, and the fact that this is all wildly improbable, Mike can't just tell the Marines what they're going to be expecting. And he's like, yeah, there are enemy insurgents. And also they're wearing weird masks that make them look like bugmen. That's weird.
Oh, Jesus.
So you need to shoot them. You need to just murder the shit right out of them if you see anything come through this gate. And
is it bad? Is it bad? I don't even I'm getting frustrated just having to listen to it again.
So they go in there and they set up a defensive perimeter and they start attaching C4 to the gate using duct tape. And one of the guys is like, is that Afghanistan that I'm looking at? It's like,
of course, because nobody can imagine. They're in California, but they can't imagine another desert.
Yeah, exactly. It's a portal to Afghanistan. You nailed it right on the head. Just shoot the things inside there. Now, the book, or the portal, or some sort of alien conscious senses that something's happening and it's time for another action scene. So they see a ton of the bugmen on the other side of a canyon or something, and they're charging at him like crabs or something. And they've all got these spears, right? And it's now that we learn that these bugmen, they have a superpower to make up for their weakness to bullet. Their superpower is they can throw a spear so hard and fast that A, you cannot get out of the way. A trained Marine cannot dodge this spear. And B, if and obviously when you get hit by this spear, it will demolish you. You get hit by this spear and you will never do anything ever again.
No, the spears hit you like fucking cannonballs.
It annihilates you.
One of them shatters Mike's ribs, which is an injury that surprisingly only slows him down enough to make the plot crawl, but not enough that he can't run sometimes. And oh my god, there's a scene where one of the spears goes through a dude's chest, but his Kevlar stops it coming out the back.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, there's a scene where it goes in through his chest, and then it there's a point in the back where it went through the Kevlar.
This book is a fucking treasure trove.
All the Marines
Every
die.
time I think I've got it figured out, we dig and there's more hidden treasures down there.
All the Marines die. They start planting C4. All the Marines die. It's brutal.
Of which there are 15.
There's like 15
trained soldiers.
Yeah, but they kill a bunch of the bugmen because the bugmen, as we have established, are vulnerable to bullets. So they kill a bunch of the bugmen. Oh my god! And then the guy from 14 comes through, and
Was that the guy from 13?
Yeah, it was the.
I thought it was probably him.
Yeah, Andrew, the sweater guy.
I suspected it was him, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Out comes this abomination. It's like a person stitched into other lanky people.
I can only describe it as a person made of people.
A person made of other people stitched together into a giant person.
He made his arms and legs longer by sewing more arms and legs onto him.
Yes. So perfect. So he's here to basically brag. And Mike is talking to him, and he's like, well, these alpha predators, man, they've got some pretty sweet spear throwing abilities. We don't stand any chance. And the monster laughs and is like, oh, these guys aren't the alpha predator. These are his minions. That
you
guy's
should
gonna
see how hard the alpha predator can throw a spear. He can throw it through the fucking world.
You're goddamn right.
So there's a bunch of flying.
He throws spears on a universal level, bitch.
Jesus Christ.
So Mike
bad.
is like, well, I have. He does the thing that they do in movies, where the hero or sometimes the villain, they're just chatting with their nemesis, and they're like, hey, I can do this cool ability. And then they do the cool ability while they're talking and having a speech. Mike is talking about how he can memorize the entire layout of this area in 3D. So he throws something at a liquid nitrogen tank and it explodes? Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized? So quantum shit's happening. Like, a bunch of toolboxes are appearing inside of other toolboxes, and they're about to explode. And he mentions to Sasha, don't let the head guy see this. Do they ever do anything with that toolbox? Because I don't remember him ever doing anything with that fucking toolbox.
I don't know.
I don't think they do. So he does that. He does a thing with his ant power. He lets all the ants loose. Ants are swarming all over the place inside of Mike's brain. He kills all the bugmen except for one of them. Oh yeah, and at this point, the bugmen, which I called bullshit on, they came through the gate, immediately realized there was C4 on it, and they took the C4 and they left.
Well, no, they didn't call... Okay, so the Andrew told them to do that, because he's from our world and he knows what C4 is.
Okay, alright, you got me there. So
and you would have no idea who Andrew was if you didn't read 14.
No, not at all. So...
Spoiler for 14.
Yeah, big spoiler for 14. I hope you read it already.
I wouldn't give him money.
Yeah, don't do that. You're right. At this point, it's like 14 was good, but like you buy it like secondhand.
I'd read 14. Go ahead and read 14. I don't want to say that.
Okay. So Mike does the thing, and Jamie takes off running through the portal. And Andrew's like, go after her. I guess. She grabs like the timer for the C4, I guess, and anyway. Then we see things from the perspective of Jamie. And she's in like this desert and she does a stuff. And Sasha's there, and Sasha is from a different dimension, we find out, because why the fuck not, I guess. And then they meet a giant Cthulhu monster in the sky who mind fucks Sasha and says that he's really hungry. And then he tries to eat him, but he misses because he sucks. And in order to turn around to give it another go, he has to like fly several miles to make the U-turn because he's so gigantic. And Sasha and Jamie are just like, well, shit, we can't see the gate. And Mike is back in Mike land, and I can't even remember what he does, but he eventually gets through the portal himself. Using his mind powers, he memorizes exactly where the portal is. He successfully guides Sasha and Jamie back into his reality, so there are now two Sashas in his reality, which contradicts that one Sasha would push the other Sasha out of the gate. And
you may be thinking at this point in the podcast that this has become something of a rambling mess.
That's how it reads.
And that would be an accurate description of how the book feels. And I want to point out that, I kid you not, I was sitting there thinking, okay, so we haven't even talked about the fact that the C4 comes in and out of existence.
Oh, I was about to get
So there's a ticking clock. There's a ticking clock, and there's also a, like, maybe it will, maybe it won't blow up. And so they push the C4 timer. The C4 is going to go off in 5 minutes. And then all this shit starts happening. And the clock's counting down. And then Sasha and Jamie are wandering in the desert. And then Mike goes looking for him. And Mike tells Sasha if he's not back, because there's two Sashas, he tells Sasha if he's not back, and when there's a minute to go, get the fuck out of there. And he starts walking through the desert, and he
cares enough about this Jamie that he'll go into the desert to get her.
And he starts walking through because this one will have sex with him. And so
good point.
He's walking through the desert. He fucking finds him finally. It takes forever, and it took long that at this point he's like, well, we got to get back. We only have 2 minutes.
You sent me a text. Planet Namek blew up faster than this fucking C4.
And so he finds her, and he's like, we've only got 2 minutes. And she's like, really? Because I've been out here for like 15 minutes. And I was like, no shit. And it turns out, for some reason, time moves slower in the desert dimension. And they can take as long as they want to walk back. And I was like, oh, thank God. Because the book wasn't long enough. And they make it back, and the C4 pops in and out of existence. And it's like, I'm describing to you how I felt reading this. So the C4 starts popping in and out of existence because quantum bullshit nonsense. And it's like, will it blow up or won't it blow up? Will it blow up or won't it blow up? Will it blow up or won't it blow up? Will it blow up or won't it blow up? This is how many times it pops in and out of existence. And I'm like, I don't even care anymore. I don't even care. So the only question, and now Cthulhu is going to come through the portal. The portal's big enough for Cthulhu to come through now. Is like, will it come through? Won't it come through? Will the C4 blow up? Won't it blow up? I don't know. Will it? Won't it? Can you just skip to the part where you tell me if it does or doesn't? Because there's no tension here. There's no meaningful tension because it's quantum nonsense. So whatever Peter Clines decides is going to happen is what happens. And I was just like, from the moment that C4 popped out of existence and popped back, I was just like, Jesus Christ, how long are you going to do this?
My note says, bullshit.
He could say, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Like, he could have just replaced all the text of this chapter with, maybe it will, maybe it won't, maybe it will, maybe it won't, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, maybe. Oh, I got my finger on the button. Maybe. No.
Asterisk. He puts an asterisk, and then he writes, Peter Clines rolls a 20-sided die and consults a table, asterisk.
It was the most infuriating nonsense. I will never read another Peter Clines book. I don't care if you suggest it for this podcast.
I think I'm done as well. I think maybe 14 might have been a fluke. Great book.
I think, yeah. Speaking of fucking flukes. It was...
Oh God. So Mike realizes that human brains causes the randomness. So he needs to drag Andrew over to the portal to incite more randomness, and that amount of randomness was exactly the right amount of randomness to not only bring the C4 back, but to add like 4 times as much C4. And they run out of the building as it blows up and kills poor Andrew, who is only doing his job. And the building is fucking totaled, and I think they get up in the rubble, and they see that the gate is still standing, and I just went, alright, fuck it. Game over.
Well, yeah, it's just, can we skip to the part where you tell us if it worked or not?
So what happened is, the gate is important for the portal to exist, even if the portal expands beyond the gate and the portal is not activated, and the gate is not activated. However, if you blow up the gate, it works at Site B to shut off the portal, but at Site A, you just have to blow it up, but it can still stand up, and there's blood coming out of my eyeballs right now. I can't comprehend this. I am a mere mortal.
It is a rambling, incoherent mess.
I need to point out, this part with the other dimension and the Cthulhu monster was the worst part about 14.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess the ship has sailed on spoilers for 14. I wasn't going to try to spoil it.
Yeah. Whatever.
I don't know. I don't envy you having to edit this, because, like, I can't... It is actually frustrating me to have to listen to it again.
We are just going to have a 5 or 6 part podcast. I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to leave it all in and add breaks.
Nah, it's... Oh boy. Okay, so I'm not going to... Let's just end it.
Let's take you home. So, I need to throw this in here because you said it yesterday and I laughed forever. Arthur stands up. He dusts his suit jacket off. He whistles nonchalantly, gets into his car, and he drives straight to Mexico.
That's what he should have done.
Yeah.
Because their project now has... There were 8 people on the project, and like 19 people have died.
Yes, over 200% casualty rate.
On a project that was about teleportation.
But Mike gets everything he could ever want. He gets to have sex with Jamie. And Jamie gets not only the dog, but also her cat. You see? And then the guy and the girl from 14 show up, and they give him a job for fucking everything up colossally and being a failure at everything. And the book just ends with Mike explaining that Jamie was totally falling for him because she ordered him the croissant donut before she went through the portal and got swapped out for a hotter, better version of Jamie. The end. That's the book.
I was a paragraph into the afterword before I realized it had ended. I'm not joking.
Yes. The afterword where he talks about that an English teacher tore this apart and he mocks that English teacher and just fuck you, buddy. God damn it. Oh. So, Ben, what did you think of the book? Okay, let's just end the podcast as abruptly as the book ended. What are we reading for next month, Ben?
Do you want to do final thoughts?
I feel like we have dissected everything we could from this book. We have gone over this book so extensively and thoroughly. Do you have any more thoughts other than all the stuff we've already said?
Well, let me ask you this. I just have one other question, because I think this is the most negative podcast we've done yet.
Good God, yes.
And I
I gave Paul Tremblay a lot of shit, but I really enjoyed his book. I would recommend his book.
I would recommend 14. I would still recommend 14. I
Yes.
want to end on a positive note. If you didn't read this book, if you're just listening to the podcast, that we've spoiled the shit out of it probably, go ahead and read 14. It's still worth reading. I don't think we gave away a lot. Like 14 is more about the journey and the characters. And
Yes.
it's surprising because 14 has good characters, and this has just the opposite of good characters. Having read more of his other books, would you recommend X Heroes?
No. I read the first book in the X Heroes series. I would say it's better than this, but it didn't do anything for me. It was just kind of there. I finished it and I said, yeah, that was a book, but I have no desire to read any more in the series, which is a problem for a series that has 5 books in it. So I would not recommend X Heroes unless you are the most diehard of diehard zombie fans, and even then, probably not.
Okay.
If it helps, my friend did say Paradox Bound was very good. He said it was even better than 14.
Oh, I don't think I can. I don't think I can. This is okay. I will say this is the only one where I was like, "Nah, I'm done. I'm done with. I don't think I'm." I've said this a couple of times before. If we like with Heir to the Empire, if we weren't reading it for the podcast, I wouldn't have finished it. It's been. I won't say I've never, but it has been a long time since I disliked a book as much as I disliked this book. And I want to point out one more thing. I'm not a snob. Honest to God, I'm not. I like fan fiction. I like a lot of like pulpy, fun little things. Like I liked that Bruce Campbell book. I love B movies. I can't stress enough. I love that My Immortal fan fiction, like the legendary fan fiction about Harry Potter.
Unironically.
I genuinely, I would give that person money if I knew who they were. I would buy a copy. I would love to donate to their Patreon. Like, this is not so bad it's good. This is just a first draft. And like we talked about a similar problem with the Poppy Wars, where there was obviously a first draft that was very different from what the book wound up being. And we had the same thing where it's like, oh, was this in the first draft? Was this not in the first draft? Like this is I don't know how it got published. Like I've never read a book where I was like, I cannot believe this came from the publisher it came from. And maybe I'm weird because most of the criticism has been overwhelmingly positive, but if you're listening to this podcast and you enjoyed this book, God bless you. I'm so glad you stuck with us. I'm not judging anybody who likes the book or anything like that, but I would just ask you to try to explain the book to somebody, talk about the plot, the characters, and what the machine does to somebody who's never read it. And if you could do that without making stuff up that wasn't in the book, then I guess I need you to explain the book to me because I could not do that.
We need you to tell us then, if that's the case.
And again, if this is your favorite book in the world, not judging you. If you enjoy the book, that's great. I'm not. We said a lot of harsh stuff about it, about like the Jamie thing especially. Not judging anybody who likes the book. I'm not judging anybody who found the Jamie thing romantic, but I would hope you could acknowledge that there's a few problems. Maybe they're not as big a deal for you as they were for me, but there's definitely a few problems. I just wanted to throw that at the end because I feel bad being this negative, but boy, do I feel negatively about it.
All right, everyone. With that being said, lightning round is over. Hopefully, we didn't scare you away with all the negativity. I had fun. Ben lost his mind. Gonna go look for it now. When we find it, we will be back in 2 weeks reviewing Marked by Sarah Fine. It has explicit sexual content, So maybe skip the book if that's not for you, but don't skip the podcast because we will be keeping it appropriate. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at WABpod. We also have a blog that comes out with each book. That is at blog.wordsaboutbooks.ninja. Go ahead, check that out, and we'll see you back here 2 weeks from now with Marked. Adios.
They are nothing but a sketchy, one-dimensional, paper-thin bunch of walking stereotypes. And they're an unlikable bunch of pathetic, idiotic scientists, too. Yes, pathetic and idiotic, because alcoholic reasons, amongst other things, but more on that later. My favorite unlikable character? Oh, that's a tough one. Let me think for a minute here. I do love Sasha and her extensive vocabulary. Sometimes she says fuck. Sometimes she says me. Most times she says fuck me.